Hey ladies, this week I want to talk to you about something that, man, it's just been laid on my heart a lot lately, and it's just something that I've been learning, and I'm like, man, I need to share this with them. And again, I did the overthinking thing, like I need to get all of the facts straight and get all of the things right before I post. And something is just like I'm getting a hit to come on and to talk about stuff, and I'm feeling this resistance of perfection biting back at me. But listen, like, I know for a fact that there are other people out there that are dealing with this, and I know that this is something that could possibly help other people. And so I am just listening. Like, whenever I feel a hit, I'm going. So today I want to talk to you guys about something, just basically about expectations, and expectations of yourself more than expectations of other people. And I want to talk about, just in a chronic illness sort of way, like, I believe that a lot of us don't have someone in our lives that also has some sort of a chronic illness who, I don't know, maybe we feel like is managing it well, or even we just don't have someone in our lives like to look up to that has a chronic illness that we can kind of look to see what it looks like to live a full life still. I know I didn't, and I know I don't currently. I mean, I do have a couple of people in my life that do deal with chronic illness. So I'm not saying that, and they do a great job at dealing with it. It's just, I think the expectations I've had of myself were just way beyond what they should be. I think I was looking to people who didn't have chronic illnesses and thinking, like, if they can do that much, I can do that much, right? And so I think there's this rearranging that's happening in my system that's letting me know that, like, my best is going to look different than other people's best, and the things that I need to care for the body and the life that I've been giving are going to be different than other people. And this is kind of like a duh moment, like duh, everybody's different. But I think on a deep level that we forget that, like, whenever we are trying to push really hard in life, when we're burning the candle at both ends, when we are giving and pouring of ourselves, when we're the natural caregivers, we forget that, like, we have such a limited amount of energy. There's several analogies. There's the analogy of spoons. Like, you only have so many spoons every day that you're being given, and if you use if you use too many spoons in one day, you're taking from tomorrow's spoons. There's lots of different analogies that I've heard, but that's the one that's kind of stuck with me. That's why that's the one I always kind of bring up. But I just think that, like, man, I always expected myself to be something way more intense than I am. I guess that's the word. And so something I wanted to what I keep thinking of, what comes into my mind, and I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to do this with you guys. If I can find my pen. Instead of thinking of things in like first of all, comparison is the thief of joy. We know this, like, comparing ourselves to other people, we know that that's never a good idea, but yet it's in our nature to have some comparing that goes on. I mean, you see it in babies even. I mean, when you do something, they mimic it. And even in little kids, like, whenever they have something, a piece of candy, they look to see if your piece of candy is bigger, and if it is, then they don't feel like theirs is as what, like, it's absolutely in our nature. And so I think you should stop beating yourself up over comparing yourself if you are, because it's in your nature. All we can do is kind of like fight back against that and speak truth to our mind, and speak truth to our bodies, and speak truth to ourselves. And for us, that looks a little bit different, because the typical 9 to 5 work life, the typical 9 to 5 work life hustle and bustle, plus taking care of your kids at night, plus being the caretaker and the the emotional support of your family. Like, first of all, like, even someone who's in tip-top health, like, why are we expecting ourselves to do so much is beyond me. And it's just not, it's not in our nature. And I think that this is why there's such an increase in sickness, because people are just, they're literally burning the candle at both ends. Like, they're wearing themselves out so much and expecting so much out of themselves. And these are normal, healthy people who end up getting in a dysfunction and a dysregulated state, to where they start getting sicker and they don't feel good and their immune system gets shut down. Like, all of the things start happening to them. And so even more so with us, we need to be so much more careful with our time and our energy when we already have kind of this, like, we have a less full cup to pour from. Like, my cup is like this big. When somebody is in like a normal health situation, their cup might be this big, and they're literally pouring out and running on empty. I've been running on empty for a hot freaking minute if I'm trying to keep up with them, Like, it's no wonder that we are so exhausted, and why we always feel like we're not good enough, and why we always feel like we're not doing enough, and why our schedules are so full that it's like one more thing. You feel like a prickly porcupine, right? Like, you feel like your quills are out, and I hate that feeling. And that's something that I'm really focusing on right now, especially as I wait for to see what's going on with my heart. And as I'm like purposely slowing down this year already, before I knew there was something going on with my heart, my word is to simplify. And I believe that God laid that on my heart because I need that so much. I need to slow down. I needed to slow down so much that every yes feels like just like your best yes. We're reading this book in one of my groups that I'm in, that I'm participating in. And she talks about this. It's by Lisa TerKeurst, and she talks about your best yes and being able to make the decision to say yes to things that are right for you. Like, there might be all of these good things that are coming in your life, and they're not necessarily bad or wrong to say yes to, but you don't feel that heck yes towards them, that like, yes, that's what I need. And you have to say no to them so that you have the energy for the best yes. And I believe that that's what God has been trying to show me for a while now. And but this other thing I was saying, like, basically like the cup analogy I just showed you, like, my cup is like this. Somebody normal might be here. So your cup, we're just going to do, it's a really crappy drawing. Your cup might be this size. Okay. You got your little coffee in there and your creamer and your funness. There's your cup. And like, your cup might be this size. There's nothing wrong with your cup, but this is your energy cup. And then you are like, man, I'm doing good today. Like, I showered, I got up, I was able to like do my Bible study. I called a friend today. If you are working, like, you got to work, you I don't know, you even put makeup on, like, all of these things that just make us feel like we're having, like, that we're human, right? All those things are taking from this. So some of them do pour back, like some things you do and you give out energy and you feel that return immediately, and the cup just kind of stays neutral, right? But our cup cannot get any bigger. You were given this cup. So this is the amount of energy you have. And unfortunately, like, I think we get so caught up in like trying to be something that we're not, or trying to be more than what we are, that we don't want to accept that that's where that we have a small energy cup, but we just do. And that doesn't mean that it's bad. It's not less than. Like, we just need more Sabbath. We just need more time to recharge. We just need to be more thoughtful about every choice that we make, especially when it doesn't align with what we want and who we want to be. So you have this size cup, and you're over here, here's a normal size cup, and then here's like the really high achievers, right? Okay, I was trying to be this cup. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was looking at this monster 44 ounce and I was like, that's who I want to be. I'm gonna go above and beyond and go. And I'm talking like back when I was when I was a kid, teenager, young adult, during that time. But also like I have such a big wanting to have such a big energy in me that I will revert to this, especially in times of stress or in times when I even feel a little bit better. I'll start to go, I can do more, I can do more, I can do more. And I'm trying to make my cup be the size of someone with a big energy, not even a normal person's energy, somebody with a really big capacity. And so I just keep thinking about this, and I keep thinking about these scales. And so we just have to kind of dial everything down. So if you're in a group and they're like, pick 3 things today that are important to you, your top 3 things that you want to get done, and do those things. I want you to take that down even lower, and I want you to pick one thing. I want you to pick one thing, because what happens to me, what happens to a lot of people, I've heard tons of people talk about this just because I'm constantly trying to learn, but I've heard a lot of people talk about this, is that even 3 things feels so like overwhelming whenever you're sick and when you're exhausted and when you're in a flare up and when you are just running on fumes, right? Like 3 things sounds like a lot, but one thing, I could do one thing. And so I just want to challenge you that any of those little rules that you've made for yourself, take it back even further and don't beat yourself up over it. Like, you're still doing that small thing, even if it is just one small thing. And this is how I've learned how to really navigate this past year, because I've had less energy this past year than I've had my entire life. And I've had even less energy this past month and a half than I've had, overall. And I feel like I've still gotten more things done because I'm not doing more. I'm pulling back. I'm saying no to things that don't absolutely light me up, that feel like they feel like a drain whenever I'm being asked to do them. And I'm really being relentless about myself care and about listening to that. And I just really want that for you. I don't want you to have to go through the times where you're so burnt out that you have to learn this the hard way. Again, I am stubborn. I try to learn things ahead of time before I go through them, but I think for me, I don't know until I know. And so until I go through the things, I just don't know. I just don't know. And then I do. And so I've never been really faced with such a long period of time where I was afraid that, whatever's going on with me could be life-threatening. That's where I'm at right now. And my perspective on so much stuff has just shifted. I just want to be able to bless you with that. I feel like the things that I've learned, the biggest and best lessons that I've learned in this life were from people who were at that place where they were reflecting back or looking back, or at that place where they realized that tomorrow is not promised to them. Those are the people that I've learned the most from. And so I'm I might not be coming at you all polished. I'm drawing cups that look like ridiculous and I'm kind of all over the place. And, but I know that I'm not for everybody, but I do know that maybe somebody could benefit from listening to this and, allowing this to shape their story. And I just give yourself grace, grace upon grace upon grace upon grace. One more thing, and then I'm going to hop off here. But the other day, I was at church and, I was listening to Craig Rochelle talk about grace and how I'm going to butcher this, but how God's grace covers us, where that's not earned. He has grace for us. We don't get to earn that. It's nothing we didn't do anything to deserve it or whatever. He gives us grace upon grace. And it's like this umbrella of I love you no matter what kind of shelter. And then we have to take that. The second part of that is that in order to walk in grace is that we have to take that step of faith. We have to meet grace with our faith. And as I was listening to this I was thinking about how so many people, like, I thought it was a great lesson. I really do. I think it was a great lesson. But I also was thinking as I was sitting there about the large amount of people who have never given themselves grace, who are going to hear a message like that and think like, because there was a part in the message where he's basically like talking about the man, he was talking about the man that was trying to get to the pool in the Bible, and he was sitting under a porch and he had been laying on his mat. He could not walk. And Jesus asked him, "Do you want to be healed?" And the guy's like, instead of saying, yes, I want to be healed, he's like, well, I can't get down to the pool. And whenever the water's being stirred, I can't get in the pool. And every time I try to get in the pool, someone runs ahead of me and I just can't get in the pool to get healed. And so it's talking about that and how Jesus just told him, get up, take your mat and walk. And he was healed right then and there, which is amazing. But I wonder, in a situation that maybe you like, of course we want to be healed, right? Of course we want to be healed. And of course we don't want these health conditions and these problems with our bodies. Of course we don't. And I do believe that there is healing within these things. Like, I don't think, I do believe in absolute like miracle healing, where you can be sick one day and God will completely heal you and you have no trace of autoimmune, you have no trace of, like, I do believe that. But I also believe that God uses the healing that he gives us in smaller increments than that to help grow us and help us to learn and grow. But my point being is that I think about people who really live with health conditions, and if they were to hear that message, I hear two parts of it, because this again is my all or nothing thinking. And I know I'm not the only one who feels this way or thinks this way. And so I got this like all or nothing thinking reminder in my mind. And I'm like, if I were to hear that years ago, that if I just want to be healed, I just need to step into God, like step into that grace with more faith. And I just don't have enough faith. I just don't have enough faith. And that's why I'm not healed. I would also think like, okay, well, I am making excuses to not be healed. Like, this is all my fault. And I just want to tell you that it's not your fault. That your health conditions were not given to you by our Father. We live in a broken and fallen world, and you are not being punished because you didn't have enough faith. You do not have these ailments. Your body is not breaking down and dying every day, because every single one of us on this planet, not one of us is not dying on a daily basis. Like, we are dying every day. And it's because we live in a fallen world. We're not in heaven yet. We're not supposed to have this perfect body. And so I think until we have the grace part and we understand the grace part and also learn how to give ourselves grace first, do we get to be in that place where we're like, okay, like, let me wrestle to see exactly where my faith steps into grace. Like, I think allowing ourselves to have grace for ourselves is faith. Because what if the guy in the Bible that was on his mat, instead of thinking like, I've got to get down to that pool, and every time I try to get down to that pool, somebody gets in front of me, and, you know, he's comparing himself to the people that are walking beside him, that have more energy than him, that have more strength to get down into this water that's supposed to heal. They believed that an angel was coming and stirring the water periodically, and that during that time, if you were in the water right then, that you would be healed. And so he's looking at all these other people who are getting down there, who have more strength than him, that have a bigger energy than him. What if he just moved a small amount of time, like an inch at a time, to get to that water, if that's how he was going to be healed? Which we know that Jesus is the ultimate healer, that's not what was going to heal him. But if that was his goal, instead of just sitting there and going, like, I can't be healed because I can't move, like, what if he slowly got to that place? Or what if he asked someone to help him? What if he reached out and asked someone to help him slowly get to that water? What if he made it a smaller feat instead of comparing himself to the people that were walking by him and compared himself to like, well, you know, it's never going to happen for me because I'm not them. And so it just brought up a lot of thoughts for me. And it also made me think of this community. It made me think of the people who are truly suffering with lifelong stuff that they've had since they were kids. Like, most of us have had these problems since we were children. And if you haven't had it since you were a kid and it's come on to you the last several years, like, I mean, you're a long time sufferer. Years is still a long time, you know, like 6 months is still a long time to be suffering. And I just got to thinking about you guys, and I'm like, if I heard that in an unhealthy mindset, I would have heard that my chronic condition was my fault because of my lack of faith. And I just don't want that to be the message that you guys hear or that you take with you. So anyway, I hope this was helpful to somebody. And I love you, and I believe that the cup that you've been given, that the energy level that you've been given, that the amount of spoons that you have on a daily basis is plenty, and it's enough. And it's okay if it's not someone else's big energy. You are so important to this world and to this earth, and God only created one you to be you. And I tell myself this all the time and remind myself that there is only one me. There's only one you, friend. And your amount that you can give to this world, the amount that you can love and the light that you are, and even if you never give anything, just being the light that you are in this world, it is enough. And there is grace for you to take care of you. And I just want to see you give yourself more grace. And I want to see you love yourself more. And the more grace that you give yourself, the more grace you allow to soak in from the Heavenly Father above, that's shining on you from up above. The more grace you allow to soak in, just soak it in. Allow yourself to be not this big energy person. Allow yourself to be you and give yourself grace for where you're at. And I really think that you're going to be able to do a lot more in this world because you are going to be working with what you have. So I'm going to get off my soapbox now, but I love you, and we'll talk again soon. Bye.